Um, I feel like you're. I'm just gonna say it because I'm supposed to say it.
Yeah, it's me,
I
dude. It's
really
right.
feel
Let's
like
speak.
you should be running a regular radio show for
Okay.
people that are calling in and saying, "I got a problem," and you plainly spell it out. You don't really have a problem. You're just looking at it for whatever reason because you're very quick in your ability to drill in to people's or empathize and get into the what the ingredients of their hot sauce is, because you're familiar with hot sauce. You've done hot sauce. You've done all the intense things that people don't want to talk about in a way in your past lives and in this one. It's like, there is no dark side that you could be scared off from that someone can share with you. You see, and that people will open up to someone that they can say, this person can relate to me, right? Whether by demonstrating that they can talk where I'm coming from, or they're ready to dive in. I mean, maybe there's a woman who's you know calls in or something like that and says, I'm considering an adoption because of this, and this, and this. You say, well, I've never had to go through, I'm considering an abortion, excuse me.
Yep.
You say, I've never gone through an abortion myself, but let's work on this. I'm prepared. Right? It's like whoa, you've never had done an abortion, but you're the territory is clear for you. It's not the kind of challenge that most people would think, I can't call a guy on this sort of thing.
Yeah, completely understand what you're saying, and that's probably been the more so of things over the past couple of months. Is it's almost now like when people say they read into your cash, it's like now I just see the mechanics of how it all works and be like, well, here's this choice leads to that. That choice leads to that.
Yeah.
There's the mechanics of it. Work with it. There's the blueprint. You make the choice. Off you go.
Yes. It's practically instinctual because you've practiced it over and over again, and there was parts in your life, you're probably already aware, you did a massive amount of research to fill in all the little gaps of this time and space, but you've handled much of these similar themes or life experience archetypes on many different places, right?
Yeah.
Many different, and that's why you're here to contribute here at this time, because you're kind of very in demand, but your mind doesn't know how, say, a business model is supposed to operate in that way.
Bingo.
Right. So your mind wants a business model operation system that that literally changes the game for you. And I want to say the people that you're going to find business in are going to be people that you find in obvious places of challenges. I want to say people that at like veterans or something, or people in a hospital, or people that are on the suicide hotline, or people that are fighting their relationships, or are taking in the programs of television and basically idolizing, as if Hollywood has a rhyme and reason that everyone should be living. Um, it's like, where do you find the people? You'll find them where the emotions run high and the tears flow quickly.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say you have the ability for like 10 different jobs to do them better than people who have trained and gotten careers simply to do that. You should be, an extremely uh, powerful therapist, relationship therapist.
I've got a quick
Um,
one because you just brought something up that's made me jump again.
okay.
We've spoken about this in the past, Julian.
Hmm.
I'd definitely say over the past, probably since June.
Hmm.
Um, I've had a lot of pests come my way, whether that be remote viewers or
Yeah.
whatever like that. That's been very interesting.
Hmm.
Um, and with the capacities that you're talking about at the moment, just really wondering how much of that is still in my field for our brothers in contrast to come and start to have a chat.
And you want them to.
I'm ready now,
Actually,
but
the point is to actually have them.
there's some type of thing that's I'm not sure. I can't even get my head around it or
Okay.
even look at it because every time I do, like go into meditation or whatever I try and do, as soon as I get to that point, I'm kicked out.
Mm,
It's like, you are under no circumstance are you allowed to find that
mhm.
information or how to do that.
Correct. Um, that's good you bring it up because it might take the rest of our time to explain that.
Okay.
So you're already familiar with the bigger role that the partners in contrast play to create this sandbox called the 3D society,
Mm-hmm.
right? And and they guard the keys to how they made it all that way closely. Um, and the keys get into very occult practices, as you know,
Yes. Yep.
and and whenever anybody gets to a point where they can begin understanding those occult practices, like, oh, that makes all the pieces fit together. I can just do this myself. That's when they say, wait a second, we got someone here who's at our level of understanding. And what we need to do is we need to have a talk with them, or we need to do whatever we can, because if we have somebody with those abilities working on the other side and breaking down the box with all the skills we're using to keep the box up, that's our number one target. So there's a larger story, and it's going to have to come from where I have had my recent experiences with with looking at things from beyond the veil.
Yeah, and that's essentially why I think I'll not think I know now I'm ready because
Okay.
same as you, it's I've literally got a foot in. I'm not going to say both worlds. It's almost like four different worlds now, and being able to see that perspective and be like, let's start the conversation.
Yes. Um, so beyond the veil, they explained the ascension process,
Mm-hmm.
or what everyone is identifying as the ascension process,
Yep.
as everybody coming to realize a minimum level of awareness of their oneness, like awareness of their sovereign power, awareness of their true creator nature, right? It's not even like 100%. 100% is God, right? Just being God. But it's somewhere in the margins of around 70%. 70% of the time, you're exercising your sovereign abilities to create as you choose. 30% of the time, you're facing your limitations. You're
Yeah.
facing, uh, the pieces in the toolbox. You're playing with the pawns of the board game that you're currently standing in, right? So you're open to explore the game, but 30% is the grounded rules that you really are to find sovereignty over time. Move past that. So since the end of 2012, the Great Split was the Great Timeline Split, where everybody made a decision where they either decided that they were going to that they were interested in exercising the validity of living and being alive, versus feeling that they're not worthy, that they're not a contribution to human experience. This is known as the 50% split. So those in 51% move to this reality, and those below the 50% move to the other reality. Now, that split is the last timeline split, official timeline split. So all 6 billion went both ways. Okay? Both realities went on. The difference now is that you can't go to that other reality where you've experienced apocalypses and everything goes to shit because you vibrationally think you're shit. Okay?
Yeah.
This world is, I'm worthy. This timeline is everything, you know, has a purpose eventually, and I'm going to find it. And you're going to find yourself in that. There's those that don't even have to look for the purpose. All they need to do is observe themselves as worthy. You're either spending half your day saying I'm worthy, or half your day feeling like shit. And now everybody is spending more than 50% saying they're worthy, in ways that the ego doesn't entirely own. Almost more like I just know I'm worthy, but I don't even have to know why. Right? I just know that I belong, and that, you know, I'm useful to live. I've got a life in front of me that is worth living. Right?
Yeah.
Now that's continued to progress since then. The average is moving up close to 70% now. 70% by those that I met beyond the veil is what's considered the escape vector. Which means if you're spending 70% of your time feeling like you deserve to live, and not only do you deserve to live, but at around 70%, you start to understand why you deserve to live, then you're in a position where the majority of your thoughts will continue, no matter how crummy a day you have, or days, you'll always return to that place where you say, there's a reason for me to keep breathing and living and going on, because I'm an explorer. Every time that you have a dip that you go down and you get your head under the water or in the mud, that's experiencing the, you know, amongst the themes in the 30% where you don't see yourself as valuable, and you experience that so that you can dig yourself out and come out without that limitation any longer. It's like every internal struggle you have that you conquer in yourself leaves you that much more empowered without having that limit anymore, right? Or not as much of that limit anymore. And this direct 50-50 is literally what's called entropy. Energy and consciousness seeks to find value in itself, as a valuable experience. So we're people that explore life and find value that creates more opportunities for value. If you create more opportunities for seeing less value, then that is what's called closing off. You keep closing all the doors, and when all the doors are closed, then you're dead, right? When there's no hope, that there's no point in continuing to live. But in this place, everyone here is on a trajectory for having all the reasons to live for centuries now, in a single lifetime. All that potential is in front of us. We don't know, many people don't know how that's possible, but because we're in the escape vector, which means we've accelerated our personal sovereignty and knowing that we're a valuable asset to creation by exploring and creating ourselves in just our own unique way. That uniqueness is inherently a valuable asset, and that repetition and mimicking is inherently wasting time because it doesn't actually drive new experiences. This is what's coming forward. So as we move through the next year, in my particular timeline projection around this time next year, we're at 99% aware. Individuals are 99% aware that they serve a function in the greater picture of existence. They don't even need to be spiritual. They just need to say, you know what? I'm doing everything right. I'm feeling good. I'm exploring life. I'm creating life. I'm creating and I'm exploring. which is a balance for each person to both explore and create. That balance is, different for each person. But there's a never-ending supply of experiences when you choose to explore and create. Creating is grounding, exploring is allowing. And so that continues to push forward. Now, at that point where 99% of people are in awareness, I'm told specifically, everybody realizes a degree of oneness in themselves, like 1.000. It's not actually one. It's a degree of oneness that is about 70% aware. So you still carry about 30% of challenges with you, and those will be the basis for new worlds at that point. Okay, so the new worlds are based on, well, we've got a couple interesting little challenges. Let's go start a world that explores those specific challenges in great depth. Okay, more depth than we have here.
On a quick one with that,
Yes.
I don't feel I've helped set up the blueprints and frameworks for those already.
Yes, exactly, because that's exciting. People can find excitement and their escape vector in that. Okay, I'm calling escape vector as if it leads to ascension, but it's really a degree of inner potential that says, I can't go back. I'm never going to lose this potential, right? It means there's nothing that can get you back to suiciding or something like that, right? There's nothing that can get you to fully give up on experience, because you always have close enough to you experiences that show you that no one really owns you. It's a degree of personal awareness of sovereignty. So that 1% that does not that is not in that escape vector, that is not in that place of awareness, that 1% is actually very important, because that 1% is the one that takes everything that is a part of people's different 30%, takes all of that that's remaining, and creates a world to explore that in depth. So they actually don't decide to go on and explore new worlds. They take the worst ideas, the most terrible ideas that still remain in human consciousness, and they reissue the 3D experience.
Is that the Mad Max world that is on the timeline?
It's a definition of it. It's one way of looking at it, but it's not. It's like saying, I'm taking this back over to that other timeline, but the one where everything goes to shit. Except this is even independent of that. Okay, so a world is created every second.
Yeah,
right?
One tick. Yeah, one tick. I just need to write that down, because you've just sparked my curiosity. It was about 3 months ago. It was if I shifted onto that everything goes to shit timeline and helped some individuals to usher there along. It wasn't so much teaching, it was kind of like almost like an ascended master type trick. Then as I come across, I had to go through that vector, as you call it, to come back into the now, is when that unfoldment happened. And that was between July and December of next year.
Yes. Yes, that's a very good explanation.